a berserk wing of the artificial intelligence community that intentionally or unintentionally could use artificial intelligence to kill all of us and hurt us the entire time that we are dying. Assume all of those to be true. Thank you all for being here. Permit me to share with you 3 hypotheses that I would like you to assume for the moment to be true. Hypothesis number 1, many members of Congress do not understand artificial intelligence. Hypothesis number 2, that absence of understanding may not prevent Congress from plunging in with enthusiasm and trying to regulate this technology in a way that could hurt this technology. Hypothesis number 3 that I would like you to assume. There is likely a berserk wing of the artificial intelligence community that intentionally or unintentionally could use artificial intelligence to kill all of us and hurt us the entire time that we are dying. Assume all of those to be true. Please tell me in plain English 2 or 3 reforms, regulations, if any, that you would implement if you were queen or king for a day. Ms. Montgomery.
I think it comes back again to transparency and explainability in AI. We absolutely need to know and have companies attest.
What do you mean by transparency?
So disclosure of the data that's used to train AI, disclosure of the model and how it performs, and making sure that there's continuous governance over these models, that we are the leading edge in terms of that regulation. Technology governance, organizational governance, rules and clarification that are needed that this
Which
Congress.
Rules? I mean, this is your chance, folks, to tell us how to get this right. Please use it.
Right. I mean, I think, again, the rules should be focused on the use of AI in certain contexts. So if you look at, for example, so if you look at the EU AI Act, it has certain uses of AI that it says are just simply too dangerous and will be outlawed in the
Okay, so we ought to first pass a law that says you can use AI for these uses but not others. Is that what you're saying?
We need to define the highest risk uses of AI.
Is there anything else?
And then, of course, requiring things like impact assessments and transparency, requiring companies to show their work, protecting data that's used to train AI in the first place as well.
Right. Professor Marcus, if you could be specific, this is your shot, man. Talk in plain English and tell me what, if any, rules we ought to implement. And please don't just use concepts. I'm looking for specificity.
Number 1, a safety review like we use with the FDA prior to widespread deployment. If you're going to introduce something to 100 million people, somebody has to have their eyeballs on it.
There you go. Okay, that's a good one. I'm not sure I agree with it, but that's a good one. What else?
You didn't ask for 3 that you would agree with. Number 2, a nimble monitoring agency to follow what's going on, not just pre-review, but also post as things are out there in the world with authority to call things back, which we've discussed today. And number 3 would be funding geared towards things like AI constitution, AI that can reason about what it's doing. I would not leave things entirely to current technology, which I think is poor at behaving in ethical fashion and behaving in honest fashion. And so I would have funding to try to basically focus on AI safety research. That term has a lot of complications in my field. There's both safety, let's say short-term and long-term, and I think we need to look at both. And rather than just funding models to be bigger, which is a popular thing to do, we need to fund models to be more trustworthy.
Because I want to hear from Mr. Alton. Mr. Altman, here's your shot.
Thank you, Senator. Number 1, I would form a new agency that licenses any effort above a certain scale of capabilities and can take that license away and ensure compliance with safety standards. Number 2, I would create a set of safety standards focused on what you said in your 3rd hypothesis as the dangerous capability evaluations. One example that we've used in the past is looking to see if a model can self-replicate and self-exfiltrate into the wild. We can give your office a long other list of the things that we think are important there, but specific tests that a model has to pass before it can be deployed into the world. And then 3rd, I would require independent audits. So not just from the company or the agency, but experts who can say the model is or isn't in compliance with these stated safety thresholds and these percentages of performance on question X or Y.
Can you send me that information?
We will do that.
Would you be qualified to if we promulgated those rules to administer those rules?
I love my current job.
Cool. Are there people out there that would be qualified?
We'd be happy to send you recommendations for people out there. Yes.
Okay. You make a lot of money, do you?
I paid enough for health insurance. I have no equity in OpenAI.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. You need a lawyer.
I need a what?
You need a lawyer or an agent.
I'm doing this because I love it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Senator Kennedy. Senator Hirono.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Listening to all of
In this final moment, we watch Senator John Kennedy slow completely down, look these AI leaders directly in the eye, and strip away all the abstractions and academic insulation, and just say it the way the American people themselves actually say it when they talk about this at kitchen tables. When he says there is likely a berserk wing of the artificial intelligence community that could kill all of us and hurt us the entire time we're dying. And every person in that hearing knew exactly how real that sentence was, because that is the deepest fear. The fear that the technology is outrunning the capacity of human power structures to even comprehend it, much less govern it. And Kennedy lays it bare with a courtroom-style directness. Many members of Congress don't understand AI. Number 2, that ignorance won't stop Congress from plunging in anyway. And number 3, that there are people who will use this with no restraint and could destroy us. That line, that single moment, was the most honest sentence spoken on AI in the last 10 years in American government. Every witness at that table blinked because none of them could deny the premise. And the public watching this knows it too. You can feel the trembling edge underneath this entire conversation. Transparency, explainability, FDA-style pre-deployment review, independent audits, licensing agencies. And when Sam Altman himself says there should be capability thresholds and license removal authority, that's not a future hypothetical. That is the direct admission that this thing is bigger and faster than the normal levers and checks of the existing constitutional architecture. This moment exposed something structural that for the first time since the Manhattan Project, the American Congress is confronting a technology where no one actually knows the limits, or if there are any. And so this hearing became a moral trial, a stress test not of AI, but of whether the American Republic can still govern the frontier before the frontier governs us. This moment revealed a horrible paradox inside modern American governance. Congress might regulate in ignorance, but Congress also must regulate because the consequences of doing nothing are existential. And when Kennedy forces them to answer in plain English, and they struggle to compress safety, governance, deployment, model transparency into non-technical, non-coded, non-lobbied, non-euphemistic language, it exposes that we are walking into a technological singularity while our leaders are operating with analog-era training, norms, assumptions, and constraints. It exposes a political order that has not yet caught up to the scale of the stakes. It exposes a moral vacuum between capability and responsibility. This is the moment in history where the question is not if government will regulate AI. The question is whether government will regulate AI before AI regulates government. The hearing you just watched is going to be cited 50 years from now in documentaries, in classrooms, in whatever media forms exist then, because it is the moment where Washington realized AI is not a normal policy category. AI is not a subcommittee issue. AI is not a neglected administrative domain. AI is a civilization scale variable, and Senator Kennedy, with a single plain English sentence, forced the experts to drop the camouflage and speak the truth. Forced them to talk about existential risk. Forced them to talk about capability red lines. Forced them to admit that all the performative optimism around innovation cannot erase the reality that the incentives of capital right now are to move as fast as possible, while the incentives of safety require the opposite. Government has been reactive for decades. This is the first domain where reactive means the republic loses before it even understands what happened. This is what oversight must sound like in an era where code is power. This is what moral clarity looks like in an era where machine logic can outpace human ethics. This is what the collision between American democracy and exponential technology looks like when the cameras are rolling and there is nowhere left to hide behind buzzwords. History will judge how Congress responds to this moment, not based on speeches, but based on whether they choose to act while the window of controllability still exists. Because the last 10 years were the slow phase. The next 10 years will not be slow, and the American people cannot outsource their vigilance to corporations, or think tanks, or Silicon Valley mythology. Democracy cannot be spectatorship. Not now. Not at the dawn of the most powerful technology humanity has ever created. This is the era of consequences. This is the moment where the stakes demand courage, clarity, and moral will. Stand with us. Stand with oversight. Stand with the investigation. Stand with the documentation of truth. Subscribe to Liberty Congress of USA.